In this issue of Steven Universe Ongoing, Lapis and Peridot are hosting a corn maze at the barn filled with various Easter eggs. And Steven, dressed in an adorable jellyfish t-shirt, which he thinks means that he's dressed up as a jellyfish, is participating. And despite the fact that I didn't think Halloween was a thing in their world, this still works because we know that there is some analog of it in their world, as Halloween decorations were used once at the lighthouse. While traversing the maze, though, Steven discovers a tunnel under one of the walls that leads to the exit more quickly than you're supposed to be able to reach it anyway, but the tunnel seemingly connects to an underground bunker network in which a corrupted gem monster has been caring for some baby raccoons. And this is a big, creepy, amphibian-looking monster thing. It looks like it could do some serious damage, especially to a human. In fact, Steven first discovered the creature because he was talking to one of the baby raccoons, and then the creature yanked it back down underground to safety, but Steven didn't know that at the time. And he went down to try to rescue it. But Steven, being Steven, recognizes that this thing doesn't mean any harm. It's just trying to raise these babies. So he decides to leave it alone and even lies to Garnet that there's nothing down there. But she sees right through his lies, probably because she saw what was going to happen next with her future vision. Let's not kid ourselves here. Because immediately after this happens, as Steven is suggesting that they could just quarter off this part of the cornfield and not let anybody over and therefore mitigate the risk, Lars and Buck Dewey, who seem to be on a date, which is weird, adorable, but weird. They find their way over the same way Steven did, and Lars is pulled down by the creature, and Garnet has to jump in and poof it with a Detroit smash. She bubbles it and sends it back to the burning room. And even though she assures Steven that the babies will be fine, that doesn't sit right with him, so he gets up in the middle of the night to go free it and return it to its home. Only to find that Garnet's already there, and she goes back with Steven to enact his plan to make sure no humans will find their way to that section of the field again, sealing the door to the bunker, the proper door to the bunker. And as they walk off into the night, she says they don't even have to worry about telling Lapis or Peridot that the thing is there, presumably because she thinks it's funny. No, she says that in most likely possibilities, nothing will happen. Still seems like kind of a dick move, though. Like, I get that Garnet's cryptic and that's half of her allure, but I really feel like she should have told them. Just like I feel like she really should have told Steven that she was going to come and release this thing again once the danger had passed. I understand that no harm was done by waiting because she knew he was going to discover her returning the creature anyway. But it still seems kind of mean not to tell him. It didn't hurt anybody to tell him either. But it's a nice, cute little story, and it's in character for both of these characters, and their interaction here is charming. Their interactions here are charming in the same way that their interactions in the show tend to be. Like, I still think in a lot of different situations, Garnet is the most mom of Steven's moms. And she really shows that off here well, I think. And as someone who talks about how I would have liked to have seen Monster of the Week stories later on in the show's run, here's a perfect example of one that is still technically a Monster of the Week story, but feels completely different than anything we've seen before. A new, different kind of Monster of the Week story that they could have utilized in the show itself. Like, I keep saying this, I keep feeling like I have to say this. I did like the show, the later episodes of the show. I still think it went in some really cool directions. But I missed these downtimey kinds of episodes like this compared to the bigger, lore episodes that we ended up getting towards the end. And I feel like, relative to the equivalent kinds of episodes in the show itself, this comic actually does things a little bit better. So if you miss that aspect of the show the same way I do, I still really recommend checking this series out. And that's not even to mention the fact that this is another one after the Ren Fair one, where the aesthetic of it is just really good and makes me want to just step onto the page and experience this place. This is a really cool looking corn maze. I want to walk it. I like corn mazes in general. But this one's particularly neat, and I would have liked to have experienced it. And any story that can make me feel that kind of longing, I feel has scored at least a minor win, right? Like, I definitely have more gripes with this one than I have some past ones. I still don't like everything about Garnet's behavior here. It's a little annoying to me and reminds me of some times in the show itself where she did things that were way more annoying because she's this cryptic kind of character. But in isolation here, this was really fun. It's maybe my least favorite story-wise of these so far, at least the ones I can recall off the top of my head. But it's still a really solid, really fun, really charming little story. And I had a lot of fun reading through it. As per usual, though, guys, what do you think of the 8th issue of Steven Universe Ongoing if you have read it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check links to my various social medias as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description, but either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.